Hi everyone. We are going to begin a kids yoga flow tonight. We are starting and ending with something a little bit different. I have this box. It's called Mindful Kids, and it's just little mindfulness activities. I use them at school all the time. So I we'll start with one and then I'm going to end with one today. Just something a little bit different. Everything else will be pretty similar. So when you're ready, you can find your mat and find a comfortable seat. Good. Find a nice, comfortable pose on your mat. If you have blocks, you can have those ready, water, whatever you need for today. Have that all ready and set up for yourself. And then begin to take a couple of deep breaths here. As you're taking deep breaths, I'm just going to adjust the camera for a moment, but you keep breathing. Perfect. Keep taking those deep breaths in through your nose and out through your nose. And today we're going to talk, this is called Mind Castle. So sit mindfully, right? So that means that your spine is straight, your body is relaxed. Close your eyes and take 3 soft, slow, mindful breaths. Really focusing on that breathing, feeling the inhale and feeling that exhale. Take one more breath. And then you're going to draw a castle in your mind. What does it look like on the outside? Does it have towers or a drawbridge? So just use your imagination. Think of a castle, however you want to imagine this castle. Now go inside your castle. What do you see? Wander through the rooms. Notice the shapes, smells, and sounds in each room. If you start to think of something else, take a deep breath and blow out the air. Bring your thoughts back to your castle. Finish when you have explored every room. What did you discover? You are building brain power when you pay attention to all the details of your mind castle, right? So bringing our focus onto one thing in our mind really helps us build our brain muscles, right? Because our brain is a muscle and it needs to be worked sometimes. So just using that imagination and focusing on one thing can be really helpful. Also, I was reading an article today about how our brain is so super amazing, right? So the things that we think are then the things that we feel. So if we feel scared or fearful or anxious, our body is going to react to that. Right? But if we are thinking happy, positive thoughts, our body is going to feel better too, right? So it's a good reason to really work on changing our negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Good. Take one more deep inhale here. Open your mouth and blow out your exhale. Perfect. Let's add some movements into our breath. So inhale our arms up and overhead. Exhale to heart center. And again, inhale up and over. Exhale to heart center. Good. This time we're going to bring one arm up and over, stretching, and then reach it all the way around. It's like a little wheel or a rainbow, right? Thinking of all the colors in our rainbow as we start to just stretch out our side body here. Good. One more time on both sides. And coming back to center. Bring those shoulders in towards your ears. And then let them drop down your back. And again, pull them all the way in, squeeze. And relax them down. Nice work. Let's bring our feet together. So the soles of our feet are going to come together. And just find a comfortable spot. And then your hands are going to come to your feet. Your hands can be on the outside and your thumbs can be on the inside of your feet. And just gently rock side to side. Your legs don't have to move, just your upper body can move side to side. Right? Feeling this in the outsides of our legs and hips. And then stopping in the middle. And then move the legs. Let those knees flap. Right? Think of a bug or an insect or a butterfly or whatever it is that you want to visualize flying around. And then stop and then move that upper body side to side again. Keeping our sit bone planted. And then the legs. Good. And then using our elbows, we're going to bring our elbows to our knees. And just gently pushing our elbows into our knees so that we hinge a little bit forward. Stretching those legs out. Your knees do not have to touch the floor at all. You just want to feel the stretch on the inside of those hips and thighs. So if they go all the way down because you have flexible legs, then that's fine. But if not, just want to feel a stretch. Couple more breaths. And inhaling back up and pull those knees in together and straighten them out in front of you. And just wiggle a little bit until you come to a comfortable seat. And then flex your feet so that your heels lift. And then point, trying to touch your toes to the floor. They don't have to reach, but just trying, pointing super hard. And then flex, lift the heels. And point, and flex, and point. And then let's do opposite. So one foot flexes and 1 foot points. Woo. And then switch, and then switch, and then switch. One more time. And relax. Wiggle those knees out. Good. And then our arms, inhale up and overhead. And we're going to hinge forward, bringing our hands towards our feet. And you can bend your knees here. Just keep your spine nice and long. Okay? We're trying to make ourselves just a little bit taller. Right? Lengthening that spine. Couple more breaths here. I always move in this pose. You can move, you can stay still. And releasing the feet and coming back up. Good. Crisscrossing those feet one more time. I'm going to bring our hands to our knees. And then we're going to take our right hand to our left knee. And our left hand's just going to come behind us. We're gently just going to twist open. Your gaze can go over that left shoulder. A full twist of the spine. And switching sides. Letting those arms float around you. The crown of the head is reaching up. And then switch. And switch. And then just smooth side to side, letting those arms flow out beside you. And then bring our arms out to our sides. So I'm going to make little circles with our arms. Picture arms like little windmills. And then make them get a little bigger. And a little bigger. A little bit bigger. And then stop. And go backwards, starting small, little circles, and then start to get bigger and bigger, and stop. And then using one hand, we're gonna make like a figure eight with our hand, right? Make like a little figure eight, just warming up that upper body. And bring that hand to your knee, and use the other hand to make that figure eight. And come to the knees, and then both arms up. And we're gonna make a figure eight with both arms. I'm gonna try to do it. All right, try to make a figure eight with both hands over your head. They can cross in the front or in the back. However, kind of making a figure eight. I don't know. I might just be, or it might just look like I'm conducting some music. Either way. One more time. And let the hands float down. And bring those shoulders up one more time. And release them down. So hopefully our upper body and our legs, I hopefully feel a little bit warmed up. Hands are going to come to the mat. We're going to roll over and coming to our tabletop pose. Our knees come right under our hips. Our wrists come right under our shoulders. And then just begin to make some circles with the hips. First to one side. And then stop. And then to the other side. Settling in. And coming back to neutral. Good. We're going to reach our right foot behind us, keeping that right hip down. So you don't want your hip to pop up. You really want to keep your two hips square. And both hands are staying on the mat. And flexing that foot. And pointing. And flex. Keep it flexed. And we're going to inhale to lengthen. And on our exhale, we're going to bring that knee in towards our chest. Exhale. Inhale. And then exhale. Inhale, one more. Exhale. Reach back out. And bring it down. And then move side to side. And we're going to take the other foot. So this time our left leg reaches back. Flexing that foot. And then point. Flex. Point. Flex, keeping it flexed. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, pull towards your chest. Inhale. Exhale, crunch. Inhale. And exhale to crunch. Good. Reach it out one more time. And place that knee back down. Good. And we're going to sink our hips down. And come just to sit on our feet. And then if you have a block, you can grab it now. If not, you can do this pose without it, but I'm going to show you both ways. So we are going to go into a puppy pose. So if you want to use a block, you can place it about like 12 inches, 6 inches in front of your body. Okay, we're going to come up onto our knees, and then our knees are going to stay right under our hips. Our upper body is going to come forward, and we're going to rest our chest. It can even be up higher on that block. And then our arms are going to reach out, and our head can rest down on the mat. This is a little gentler. If you don't have a block, it's okay. You don't need one. You can rest your chest down towards the mat and let your head rest down. So really feeling our shoulders stretching here. All right, it's a little deeper stretch on our shoulders than a child's pose. And just take 2 more breaths here. And walking your hands back to the tabletop. If you used a block, you can move it out of the way. Good, and then we're gonna step our right foot back and then our left foot, and coming to our plank pose. Nice stiff board right here. Someone could rest a drink on her back, pull your belly button in, really feel all your muscles working. Hold it and hold it. And then you're going to bring one knee in and back out. And then our left knee in and back out. And then maybe go a little faster. See how fast you can climb the mountain. And stop when you're ready. Lowering your knees, uncurling your toes, and lower all the way to your belly. This time we're going to bring our elbows right under our shoulders and our arms reaching out in front of us. So those hands in front of us are really pulling, pushing into the mat and pulling. Like we're trying to pull our heart right through our shoulders, right, reaching towards the sky, pushing into the tops of the feet so those knees lift, so all our muscles are active here. Taking our Sphinx pose. One more round of breath, long inhale, and let it out, exhale. Nice job. Bringing those hands, wrists under the shoulders, lift all the way up into our cobra. Bend the knees, tabletop, and then curling our toes, we're gonna make our way into our down dog. So curling our toes, pushing into the feet, lifting the hips up and back. Good, letting that neck and head hang heavy. Maybe you shake your head, yes and no. Maybe you walk those feet out, right? Walking your dog, feeling the back of your legs stretching. Check your fingers, look at your hands. Make sure your fingers are pointing straight ahead. Good. Take 2 more breaths here. And then walk those feet all the way up to the top of your mat to meet your hands. Coming into our forward fold. So you can separate your feet about hips width distance apart. And then bring your upper body down. So we're going to start first by bending our knees and placing our arms on our knees, right? Kind of like if you were a softball player or a baseball player or you're skiing. I don't know. Not super sporty. I picture softball right here, right? So you're resting here. Then if that feels good, let your arms come off the knees and let your body just fall forward. Keeping that bend in the knees though. And then your arms can move around. Imagine that you're an elephant. This is your trunk. And stop. Bring your hands up to those shins and push into your shins. Gaze goes forward. Keep that neck nice and long though, so you're looking right down at the floor in front of you. Nice flat back. And folding down. And then slowly, as slow as you can, rolling up, vertebra by vertebra, coming to stand in our mountain pose. Going super slow. Good. Head and neck come up last. And our arms reach down. Our fingers are super strong and active. Right? I always like to picture there's like laser beams coming out of my fingers. Maybe you're Spider-Man. Pull it, pushing into the feet, pulling those knees in and up so our legs are active. Our shoulders aren't up here. They're nice and relaxed down from our ears. Nice and strong and solid like a mountain. Good. And then reach the arms up and over your head. And exhale your hands right to your heart. Nice work. Bringing those feet together. Big toes are going to come together. And we are going to sink down into our chair pose, right? You can keep your hands right at your heart center here. Sinking down. Pretend that you're sitting in a chair. Good, and then we're gonna add onto this and make it a little bit trickier. So we're gonna go back to that position that we had at the beginning, right? When we had our arms resting, but our arms are gonna come behind us and our upper body is gonna come parallel with our thighs. And then we're gonna inhale and come all the way up and stand up on our tippy toes. And then exhale, come all the way down. I like to imagine I'm skiing really fast down a hill right here, and then I'm coming to a jump, and I come up and over the jump, and then I land and I keep skiing. One more time, jump, up to the tippy toes, hold, hold, and come down. Perfect job, shake that out. Step your feet about hips width, maybe a little wider than hips width apart, so your legs are out further than your hips. And then we're going to turn our toes so they are facing out and our heels are facing in. Our hands are going to come to our hips and we're going to sink down into our hips as far as we can sink down into our horse pose. And our arms are going to come out to our sides. And we're going to turn to one side and come back to center, and then turn to another side, back to center. You kind of look like one of those chess pieces. I think it's the rook, but you know, don't quote me because I don't play chess. And then lift one heel and drop it. Lift the other heel, drop. Again, last side. And then try to lift both heels, sink down, nice. And fold all the way forward, toes pointing forward again. And just rock side to side here. Good, and we're slowly gonna roll up. Nice job. We are going to take those right toes and we're gonna point them to face the top of our mat, right? So our right leg is now pointing out and our back leg stayed exactly the same, right? But we're gonna walk it back a little bit more so that we are wider. We want to take up as much space on our mat, right? We're gonna dominate our mat space. And come to our warrior two. Arms are straight. Good, and then reach forward. Come back. Reach back. Good. Then we're going to take our backhand. I'm going to bring it forward, right? I've been watching the Hunger Games over, so I have the need to like pretend I can shoot an arrow. Shoot your arrow and let it go. And forward, pull back on that arrow, hold. Let it go. One more time. Pull back on that arrow. Let it go. Nice. Flipping our front palm, reverse our warrior. Reaching back. And then take that left arm and reach it forward. Good. So our arms are they're reaching in opposite directions here. Coming back to center, straighten those legs. Bring those right toes forward and turn the left toes towards the other side. And then bend that knee. So coming to a warrior two on the other side. That one, we shouldn't have to widen our legs as much because we should really be in that length already. Good, and settle here. And clearly, every good archer can shoot with both sides. So we're gonna bring that right arm forward. Pull back with our arrow. Let it go. Reach forward, pull it back. Let it go. One more time, pull back, let it go. Nice flip, reverse our warrior. And this time our right arm comes in front. And back to our warrior two. Hands come to our hips and moving all our toes forward. We're in a pretty wide straddle right now. So we're just gonna heel toe our feet together, or you can hop into a standing position too, whichever one you want. And then shake that out. Good. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to heart center. And we're going to take that whole sequence one more time, and we're going to go just a little bit quicker, and then we're going to add on at the end. So we're going to sit into our chair. Inhale. Exhale to rise up to our tippy toes. Inhale. Exhale up. Oop. I didn't balance very high. One more. Inhale. Exhale all the way up and hold. Bring your hands to heart center. And maybe bend your knees, keeping those heels up and coming to a squatting pose. And then maybe you just fall over and come to a seat. We were not going to a seat, but we're going to for a minute before we move on with the rest. So bringing our hands to our knees, we're going to inhale to open our heart and exhale to round. And again, inhale and exhale to round. Inhale and exhale. One more time. Turn time. And exhale. Good. And then cross those arms in front of you and just move side to side a little. Feel those arms stretch a little. And shake it all out. Perfect. And we're going to make our way back to either a tabletop or a down dog. So roll over the hands and come to tabletop. Or you can curl those toes and come back to a down dog. Either way, take 2 breaths wherever you are. Good. We're going to lift our right foot up, coming to a 3-legged dog. So if you are on a tabletop, you can just lift your foot up this way. Okay? So either way, it really will work with both positions. So lifting that foot up, bending the knee. We're going to open that hip. Right? So you kind of look like a dog peeing on a hydrant, right? And come back and lower your foot. And just walk it out for a sec. And then the other one, we're going to lift the left foot, bend that knee, and then open that hip. Coming back, walking it out. And everyone can come back to that tabletop. We're going to step our right foot between our hands, coming to sort of a low runner's lunge. So right now, my knee is right under my hip in the back, and that's okay. So we're going to come to stand first. Okay, so where this left knee is right under that left hip, and we're going to lean a little bit forward and come back up. And lean into that right hip and come back up. One more time, push into that right hip. And come back up. And then you can bring your hands down and walk them back to straighten that front leg. Good. Come back forward. And just walk that foot all the way back around. And the other side. Stepping that left foot forward. Coming up. So you can see that this leg is straight. So it's not tilted right now. If this hurts your knee, you can always put a blanket underneath it. My mat's on a rug, so it's fairly soft. And we're going to inhale and come up and push forward and come up and forward and up, and one more time. And drop the hands and straighten that front knee. Our half split on our other side. your way back to the tabletop. And hands come to your thighs and standing up onto those knees. And we're going to come into our gate pose from here. So my right foot is going out. So if you want to do so it looks the same, you can do your left. Or you can just use what I'm saying and follow that way. It doesn't matter. One leg goes out to the side. And the other knee stays straight under that hip. Okay, so my hips are nice and square. Arms come out, and then I'm going to hinge down. This arm and hand are nice and strong, reaching up, feeling the stretch all the way right from my wrist, all the way down to that knee. And coming back and bringing that hand to the hip and reaching up in the opposite direction. Only moving our upper body here. Our lower body is staying the same. And switch back. And again. Good. And bring that knee in. And just sit for a moment. Maybe roll the hips on the heels. Just stretch it out for a minute. Coming back up. Other leg goes out. Arms come straight and hinging down. Good. So you don't need to be like forward or really low. You just want to feel the stretch. So if you can feel the stretch down the side of your body, then that's perfect. You don't have to keep going deeper. And just continuing to breathe. And switching. So that hand comes to the hip and the other arm comes up. Good. And switch. And up. Last time. And down. And up. And that hand can come to the hip and the knee can come in. And again, sit down. And just move about a bit. Perfect. When you're ready, come to your knees, then to your feet, and stand up. Good. So today we are going to, our standing pose is going to be in one of our flows that we're going to go into now. So if you have a block, that is super helpful. If you do not have a block, I would suggest maybe being near a wall or using anything, maybe a chair, anything that would really just sit with just for a one hand support. Okay, so if you have a chair near you or a wall or a block, have something of that in our in your hands. So then we are going to first step our left foot back, coming to a high lunge. So that back heel is lifted off the ground. Okay, so that whole back leg is facing forward. Our right foot is facing forward. Our knee is bent. Good. Now we're just going to bend and then straighten all the way out. And bend. Straighten. Good. Rebending. And we're going to open to that warrior two. From here, we're just going to straighten into that front knee. All right, but you don't want to lock it out because if you can see here, it kind of like goes in. We don't want to lock it because really then you're just hurting your knee and you're not even using all the muscles in your legs. So it can have a slight little bend, right? It's not bent, but it has a little bend. Arms come out. And then we're going to reach our upper body forward while our hips reach back. So we're trying to, it's like we're pulling in this direction, but our hips keep going in the opposite direction. Then we get here, you're going to bring your other arm up and pretend that you are holding a beach ball. You have a big, giant beach ball right here. You're just holding it up. Trying to balance right here. Good. Bring that beach ball up. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. And come back down. Good, 2 breaths here. And come back up. And let the arms come down. And we're gonna bring both toes to the front. And we're gonna switch sides. So our left toe is gonna go out to the side, right? And we're gonna come into that warrior 2 on the other side. Good, and then straightening into that left knee. Upper body reaches forward while that right hip reaches back. And then hold onto our beach ball. And then bring up the beach ball. Rest here for a second. And holding that beach ball to the side. Like you're trying not to get it blown away in the wind. And you're holding it and it's moving. All your muscles are struggling. And come back up. And arms come out. And then bring your hands to your hips. And we're going to turn these toes to face the front. So we're going to come into that high lunge now, facing the other direction, right? Just like we started with on our other side. And then bend, straighten, bend, straighten. One more time. Bend, straighten, and step to the front of your mat. Nice work. So we're going to go through one more standing sequence, and then we are going to do another one of our mindful cards before we come into our Shavasana. We might do them together. So coming back to a down dog or that tabletop. So you can always take a tabletop instead of a down dog, and that's fine. If you're in your down dog, you're going to step your right foot to the outside of your right hand, right? So that right foot is coming. So it's right in line with that right pinky, right? So that foot is at the edge of your mat. Then you're going to drop that left knee down, uncurl those toes. And we're making our way into our lizard lunge here. So you can stay right here. So this might be enough of a stretch for you. You can feel it in your hips. You can feel it in the left hip flexor. Feel it anywhere, everywhere. If this seems super easy, you can use blocks and you can bring your elbows down, or you can bring your elbows all the way down to the floor if that's comfortable. Otherwise, just stay up like this. You can even, sometimes I like to bring my hands up to a block so that I sink a little bit deeper into those hips, keeping my upper body upright. There's so many variations. Good, and just sinking here. Sometimes I like to roll to the outside of that right foot super gently, just stretching the inner hip a little bit, as well as that outer hip. Coming back. Good, and then gently coming out of this. Bringing that front foot, your right foot between your hands. So we're into that low lunge again. We're going to lift that back foot up and then hop it in. Good. Here, I use blocks here as well. Resting my hands on the 2 blocks. We really coming into our pyramid pose. You can do this pose without blocks, definitely, but I feel like I get a deeper stretch when I use my block. So my right hip is really working back while my left hip is working forward. So my legs are trying to scissor together. And I'm keeping my spine nice and long. So my gaze is right at my toes. And I can see by looking at my toes that I need to paint them. Good. I'm going to take our left hand and plant it on the block that's on the inside of our right foot. Right, so it's on the inside of that right foot. And our right hand is going to come to our lower back. And pushing into that, our arm is going to reach up, coming to a twisting triangle. And bringing those hands down. Good. And we're going to make our way into a half moon. I'm going to do the same leg. I'm just going to switch directions so it's easier to see. So for our half moon, so if we're in our pyramid here, we're going to take our block about 6 to 12 inches diagonally in front of that front foot. Move back a tiny bit. And then we're going to bring our weight onto that right leg and that right hand and just lift that left leg up. Good. If we feel good here, then we can try to stack our hips and stack our shoulders. Flexing that left foot, and then maybe reach the left arm up. Good, half moon. And then looking down, bending that front knee, bringing the left foot down, and folding down. Just letting it all go here for a minute. And rolling back up to stand. Perfect. And we're going to take that same thing on the other side. So if you were in a tabletop before, go back to a tabletop. If you started in down dog, make your way back to that down dog. Good. I did a down dog last time. So now we're going to step our left foot to the outside of our left hand. Right? Making our way into that lizard lunge on the other side. Lowering that right knee. And then finding whatever variation on this side that you found on the other side. So if you just stayed on your hands, then stay on your hands on this side. If you went down to elbows, you can try to go down to elbows. But they don't have to be the same. So if one side you went deeper and this side is like, nope, not happening, that's okay. And maybe roll to the outside of that hip, outside of that left foot. Just breathing into those legs. Letting those hips slowly open. Good. Taking 2 more breaths here. And coming back and walking that left foot between our hands. Good. So, again, this is where I grab my blocks. Uncurl those back toes, lift it up, and then hop it in. Not too far, but just a little bit. I like to hop it in a little bit. And make our way to our pyramid on the other side. So this time our left hip is moving back while our right hip is moving forward. So you can kind of see my hips moving, trying to square themselves. Hopefully my spine is nice and long. My head, the crown of my head is reaching forward. Looking at my toes. Good. And then this time we're going to plant our hand on that block that's on the inside of our left foot with our right hand. And our left hand comes to our lower back. And then we twist open to a twisting triangle. Maybe that arm reaches up. And coming back down. Good. Now we're going to make our way back into that half moon. So our block is going to be in our left hand. Okay? So we're walking that block about 6 to 12 inches diagonally in front of that left foot. So I have a wall here, so you can always use a wall to help you do this. Planting the hand and the weight into that left arm and left foot, we lift the right leg. And then we can try to stack the shoulders and the hips. Right, an arm can reach up. And I have a wall right here, so I'm going to lean on it for a minute. So you can lean on a wall if you want, like this, right? Just so you can feel the pose if there's a wall there. If you don't want to use the wall that way, you can also just use the wall for your hand to come up sideways. Good. Take one more round of breath in that. And lower down. Folding forward, letting it all go. And then slowly rolling back to stand. Nice work. Very good. Now we're going to take one more balance pose today. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift one knee. Okay, so I'm lifting my right knee up. I'll do it sideways so you can see. Lifting your right knee up just like this. My left hand's going to come to the outside of that right knee, and my right arm's going to come back. It's our dancing Shiva pose. So my hips are still facing forward while my upper body is twisting open. Plus I'm balancing. If you want to make it more difficult, you can move your gaze. So if your gaze goes to that back hand, it's going to change your balance. Right? And releasing. And the other side. So this time I lift my left knee. Right hand comes to the outside of that left knee. Left arm reaches back. Opening here. Dancing Shiva on the other side. One more round of breath. And coming down and shaking it all out. Nice work. Very good. The last thing we're going to do before we go into our mindfulness is we are going to make our way all the way onto our belly. So if you want to lower down from a plank, feel free to do that. Otherwise, just get there however you want. But if you want to lower from a plank, see how slow you can lower all the way down. Coming to your belly. Good. Our arms are going to come down by our sides with our fingers and palms facing down. So it's like they're grabbing onto that floor. And just rest your chin or forehead on the mat. On an inhale, we're going to lift our head and our chest, but keep our gaze right on our mat so our neck is nice and long. And then lift your feet. And maybe lift the backs of your hands up towards the ceiling. Right? This is sometimes called Superman. Right? Because you kind of look like you're flying through the sky. And then lower all the way down. And rest one cheek on the mat. Just feel like you're melting into the mat for a minute. Good. Bring that chin and forehead back to center. Flip the palms. And again, lift the head and chest. Lift the legs. Lift the hands. And keep breathing here. This is that one pose where people always forget to breathe in. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just forget to breathe here. Keep breathing. Maybe you reach your arms out in front of you. Like you're really Superman, right? One hand comes here, one arm goes forward. Do, 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 do. And lower all the way down. Opposite cheek resting on the mat. Good. Bring your hands right by your ribs, right? Your hands right under your shoulders. Pushing up. And come to sit on your mat. Nice job. So let's take a couple of deep breaths. So we'll bring our arms up overhead on our inhale. And hands to heart center on our exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale to heart center. And take that gentle twist, opposite arm, opposite knee, like we did in the beginning. I like to come back to some, and switch sides. I like to come back to some of these poses at the end so you can really feel the difference, right? How stretched out you are at the end. And come back to center. Take a couple of those chest opening, cat-cow breaths. Inhale and exhale to round. Inhale, smelling all the flowers. Exhale to round. Good, and coming back to center. To end today, we are going to do, this is called our joyful jellyfish. And the goal for this is to let your fears float away. So what I want you to do is lie down on your mat. So you can make your way into your Shavasana pose here. So getting comfortable, laying down on your mat, letting your feet splay open, your arms are by your sides, closing your eyes. Just feeling everything relaxing. Good, let your arms rest loosely by your side. And then close your eyes, but notice your tummy rising and falling with your breathing. So just feel your belly moving up and down as you breathe. Good, can you feel it? Feel your muscles sinking into the floor beneath you. And let your body be as still as possible. The only movement is from your breathing. Imagine that you are a joyful jellyfish floating in the water. So just picture yourself floating around, right? If you've ever been to an aquarium and you've seen the jellyfish, they literally just look so peaceful floating around. So imagine that's you. Now let your worries glide off your jelly body, right? They slip right off because you're made of jelly. Feel them slip away into the water. Float freely through the sea, nothing in your way, nothing holding you back. Just floating, free, no worries, right? Bringing those positive thoughts into our mind. Remember from the beginning, what we think we feel, right? So if we think bad things, we feel bad. If we think good things, we feel good. So keep thinking positive thoughts as you float through the ocean as your jellyfish. Look around at what you see. Maybe you see some fish swimming by, or a lobster. I picture those things called the anemones, right? Just floating around, coral, all sorts of things. When you are done, rise slowly, taking your joyful jellyfish heart with you. Good, and come to that seated position on your mat. Take one big inhale in through your nose. And exhale. Nice job. Bring your hands to heart center. And let's breathe in one more time together. Big inhale. And then blow out your exhale. Awesome. Let's do that one more time. I like those breaths. Inhale. And then blow it out. Bring your thumbs to your third eye, which is your forehead center. And together we say, Namaste. Thank you for coming. Thank you for practicing with me. And I will see you next Friday. Have a great weekend.